Okay, so that recording is restarted, and probably just going to start off from here on because I won't be able to splice the two videos. So, quick recap for the video and for everyone that wasn't listening. First thing I go along and do is read down through what my questions ask me. The question goes along and tells me elevation is in the arrow of A. Okay, so in this case, elevation is my arrow A. Alright, my plan is obviously looking directly straight down in terms, this case, my red arrow. Also, my end view is in the direction of B, so looking straight ahead is my end view. The shaded areas are my true shape. I went along and decided to find my true area, or my true shape. So that's basically anything that's parallel in my plan. So I know this is just going to be a nice straight face. Same with this one here for my handle. So I just highlight them here in the little visual they gave me just to make things easier. So far what we've done is drawn a box or a rectangle out 122 by 56. Next step, we're going to have a look at this handle section itself. So it tells me my handle is 14 wide on either side. It also tells me on my side over here it's going to be 18 high. So it's going to be 14 either side and 18 high. So let's get that drawn in. First step that I'd go along and do is I go and measure up my 18. Okay, now you can do this whatever way you want, but if this was me, I'd measure up my 18 and I draw my straight line across. Okay, so measure up my 18, straight line across, and again I can go past or go over my end over here, because that's completely fine. It's a construction line, it doesn't have to be perfect. Grab my set, draw up my other line, and now my next job is going to be measuring in 14. For the lads that just after arriving, just be quiet, the video is recording as well, so you can watch this back over. Okay, from the outside, so measuring up 18. Okay, so measure up your 18, and then from either side, looking at my drawing, it tells me each arm over here of this length or this light is 14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 14. So count it out, 14. Going to do the same thing on this side first. 14. I'm going to draw my line straight up. Okay. Now, I have one last line to add in to finish off more or less my body of it, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold on for the lads that just got in to get taped down and everyone else to catch up. You're going up your 56, on top of your 56 right here, you're measuring up your 18, and then in here you have 14 and you have 14. So you're measuring up your 18 and 14 on your left and your right. Okay, so you're 14 and 18, 14 and 18. Okay, if you want to go ahead, you can do so. Now, my next piece, I'm going to be looking at how do I add thickness to this top handlebar. So I'm going back over to my drawing. Back in my drawing, I'm looking right here. So I have my 14, it's how wide it is, but it shows me here that it's 7 deep. So I'm going to be measuring down 7 millimeters from the top line. So from this line, okay, I'm going to measure down 7 millimeters because that's what it's told me over here in my question. Okay, so I'm going to measure down my 7. I'm going to mark my point. I'm going to draw and connect that up. So that there is more or less the main body of my image drawn. The only thing I'm really missing now is my camera lens. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let people catch up to that first, then I'm going to talk you through the camera lens itself. Okay? So again, this is all the measurements that you need are up on the screen, just in case you've lost track of where we are. Okay? So first step was this big rectangle, then you had your two smaller ones, then you had this rectangle across here. Okay? There were the steps you had to follow. You're then going to be looking at your camera lens. The thing that we have to focus on with a camera lens, you can see it here in the 3D visual, that it actually sits back into my actual lens. So I'm going to have a hidden line there. What I mean by that is if I have my curve here, okay, that's the outside of my lens, alright, but then on the inside, what I have is it's coming back and sitting back in. So this here is all my glass. This here is the inside of my lens where it sits back. And then this here is obviously my front surface. Okay? So this is the glass section that's sitting back in it that we can see here. But then this is recessed or dropped back. Okay, and then I have my front lens or my front face. So I know by looking at that I'm going to have a hidden line detail, but we won't worry about that for right now. Firstly, we have to determine what the outside shape is. How big is the outside one? Because that's what we're going to see. In this case, it's a radius of 33. And what we have to do is figure out how high it goes. So in this case, it's up 37 millimeters. So first thing I'm going to do, if this was me, I'd put my set down, measure out 37. And what I'd do is I'd actually draw in a center line. So big dash, little dash, big dash. Same going this direction. Okay, that way I can ensure I'm at the right height. Center line. 37 millimeters high. Okay, that center line is 37 millimeters up from the base. So it's 37 up from the base. The best way to ensure, right, once you have that center line drawn, that you're getting 33 on either side of the line, is set up your compass. So, set up my compass to 33, so put on 0, open it to 33. Okay, it's the best way to ensure I'm actually coming up 33 either side. So in this case, that height right there, and this base right here is my 33. So for those that weren't watching or didn't see it, put my point where it crosses my center line. 33 up is that height, 33 down is that height. That's my height at 33. That's my lower at 33. Okay? I do indeed. Here, catch it. Now, next step, we have to figure out how far this lens is coming out from the body of the light. So how far it actually sticks out from the light source. So, this case, looking at my question, I have my 14, 94, 14. I also have my 10. If I follow my lines, so if you're looking up at the screen, follow my lines, it shows from the top front part of the body to the front part of the camera here that distance is 10 millimeters. Okay? Most people actually end up putting in about 14, 15 millimeters for that. The distance that comes out from the body is 10, and where I got that measurement was this one here. Okay? Just because I know people got that wrong. Now, best way to go about answering that is just measure out your 10, make your mark, draw your vertical line. So again, this is a construction line, so you can go up and past the marks that you put in. Doesn't really make a difference, because we'll be going back over and darkening them off anyway. So measuring out my 10, and then I can finish off the outside of my lantern or light, whichever you want to call it. So I measured out 10, drew my straight line, yeah? So I measured out 10 and I drew my line. Okay? My next step is just finish off my lens. So at my 33 mark, extend out a line. 33 and 33 at the bottom. That's the majority of my marks actually created. What I'm just going to do is I'm going to darken it all in just so it's a bit easier for you to see on the camera. Now, where the majority of you have actually lost your marks, a good few of you got to this stage, right? Well, in this question, or this part of the question, out of 14 marks I think it was, there was 5 marks going for your hidden line detail. So that means for the majority of you, you only received 9 marks for getting this far. The last few was relating to your hidden line detail. Your hidden line detail comes from what I was discussing earlier on with this camera lens that's dropped back. It's also reduced in size. So looking at my actual diagram, okay, I can see here that it's actually dropped back in 3 millimeters, because that's what this symbol here means. Okay, it's dropped back in my 3 millimeters. Okay, and it's actually at a radius of 30 from my center. So the way I'd go about answering that, I'd go along and get my compass, set it up at 30. Okay, and I draw an arc both on my top and my bottom just so I have the correct sizing. Arc on my top, arc on the bottom. So now I have my correct sizing for that. Okay? What I'd be then inclined to do is go along and drop in my 3 millimeters. So if everyone can get your 30 done on top and the bottom, that'd be great. All done? Yeah. So then I have my 3 millimeters in from the front of my camera lens. So I'm going to measure in my 3 millimeters. 1, 2, 3. Now this is all a hidden line. So hidden lines are dashed lines. So they're dash, 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 dash. So I have to show it as a hidden line. So in this case, dash, dash. Just like what you see up here. Okay, I know it can be a little bit hard to see, but these dashed lines represent a hidden line. So they're there, we just can't see from where we're looking. Okay, so finish it off, and it should finish off looking something like this. Okay, finish it off your hidden line detail, it'll look like this. Alright, so that there is my elevation done. So if I was in an exam, I'd be coming along and I'd be putting a tick beside my elevation, so I know that's finished. I don't have to worry about it. The next part is your plan, which you're pretty much just going to be taking all your lines straight down. There is going to be very little new information that you actually have to do in this. Okay? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to project my lines. Sorry, I'm going to project my lines straight down from the body of it. I won't worry about the lens straight off. Okay? So I'm going to project my lines straight down for the body. And these are all construction lines, so just draw them in lightly. They're not too important. Okay? Draw them in lightly, and I get something like this. Okay. Another very, very common mistake that happened in this question was some people, you had your XY line there, but you also had your plan touching your elevation. There has to be some space in between it. So the general rule I go by is come down about 20 millimeters down from the top, or down from your XY line, so this line here. Come down about 20 millimeters or so, or 15 millimeters. Okay? The main thing is they can't be touching. And that's what a lot of people ended up doing. So, straight line across. And that's going to be my starting line for my plan. So that there is my starting line for my plan. If anyone's having issues reading the measurements, please open up your Schoology. The question is up there under mock papers. Okay? Now, instead of looking at my widths, so my left to right, going this direction, what I'm now going to be looking at, or my length should I say, what I'm now going to be looking at is my widths. So anything going this direction will give me my width. So in this case, my width of my main body is 74 millimeters. So let's draw in 74. So that there is the outside of my main body now finished. Yeah, 74, sorry. I should have written that in. So 74 gets your width of your main body. Now, you have two options of finding this central handle, okay, to find its location. You can, one, go along and do it graphically using a bisect, so bisecting the line and measuring out 7 on either side, or you can do it using maths. So in this case, I'm just going to do it using maths. So 74 minus 14. 4 minus 4 is 0. 60. Divide that in 2, I'm coming in 30 on either side. So 74 minus 14 means I have 60 left over. If I want to find the middle of how far I have to come in, it's going to be 30. So in this case, I'm now going to measure my 30 in. Measure my 30. Excuse me. I'm also going to measure 30. If you want to double check it, you can. But if your lines are adding up correctly, that all your measurements are so far right, you will have 14 left in the middle. So if you measure in 30 from your top and your bottom, you'll have 14 left in the middle. I can then bring those two 14s, or those two marks I just drew in, straight across my piece. Just like you've seen. So I can measure my 14 straight across in the middle there. Okay? I'm about 3/4 the way through my plan. Alright? My next step is to get the heights on either side, so my two 14s. I'm just going to bring down those locations. So just draw a very light line the whole way down and through. Yeah, see your 14 that you had up here at the top? Yeah, it's just that one. So your two 14s. Now, next area that a lot of people lost out on marks was your two hidden line details that were here and here. Let's have a look at the question. Gentlemen, just listen for 2 seconds. Where people lost 2 marks very, very easily was these two locations. Because this handle is sitting above this base plate, technically means I can see this line. Even though it's underneath my handle, it's still there. So what I should do is have, this is a solid line, okay? This one here is a hidden line, and then a solid line. So it should look something like this. Solid, hidden, solid. So I have to go solid line, hidden line, solid line. I'm aware it's hard to see, unfortunately I can't zoom in anymore. So I should have solid, hidden here in the middle, solid. Same up here, 14. So you just bring your line straight down from the top. So you're just bringing your line straight down from the top. Okay? Now, my plan is almost done. Alright? I just have to draw in my lens once again, and I'm finished. Okay? Important thing about your lens, it's going to be in the center of this body. So in this case, instead of going in and measure my 30s, what I'm going to do is going to go 2 divided by 74. Okay? So if you can't work it out, 2 into 7 goes 3 times, carry the 1, gives me 2 into 14 is 7. So I should be measuring in 37 from the top or bottom, and that'll get me my center line. Okay? So this is what we have to do. We have to do a little bit of maths to work things out as well. So let's measure in my 37 and find my center point, or my center line should I say. So measure in your 37. And you have your center line. So my center line drawn in. From here then I can bring down my 2 lines in my elevation for my width. Bring down the front of my lens, and then bring down the hidden line part of my lens as well. Easiest next step is go back to your compass. So you're 33 and you're 30. Again, the inside one is going to be hidden line detail, because even though we know it's there, we just can't see it.
What's
That's your 3 mil in. So how I found that, I worked off the same widths up here. So do you see up here? What I did was, you see these 2 very light lines? I just got my set like this, and I just brought them straight down, because they have to line up on top of each other anyway. So I don't actually have to measure it, because I've already done it once. I can just bring them straight down. And then if you look here, I have my 33 and my 30. So my 33 and my 30. Okay? So for anyone that's keeping pace, that now means our plan is also done. That means we have our end view to do, and then we're almost there. Now, to do your end view, you have to draw on a 45-degree line. There should be no reason to actually measure anything in terms of our end view, because we already have all my lines here in my plan. We have everything in my elevation. So drawing in my end view should be a very, very quick and simple thing. So I'm just going to draw my 45-degree line first to get started. Now, how I like to go along and do my end view is not necessarily how most people like to do it. I bring over my main heights from my elevation first. So in this case, I'm going to be bringing over the following lines: my top line and my two other lines like this. Okay, I'm also going to extend out my center line, okay, and that there all my main heights. So all my main heights from my plan are now just transferred over, or projected is the word that you'd see in a marking scheme. Okay, so I'm just bringing all my lines straight across. Okay, that brings all my heights straight across. Okay, next thing, I'm going to do the same thing for my plan here. I'm going to bring over my main body. I won't worry too much about my actual headline for the minute. So let's bring over this first corner point and see what happens. This top section, I'm going to bring over until it hits my 45-degree line, just like this, and I'm going to bring it vertical. So I'm going to mean straight up. So bring it over till it hits my 45, and I'm just going to draw it up vertically. Now, if you don't know how I'm doing this, just watch up at the screen. I know, say, we're looking at this first line, or this front line, is going to be at this height, right? So that means that height is my 56, and I know this line right here coming over is my 56. So by bringing my line over, hitting the 45, bringing it up, I know this here, where I've just circled, is one of my points. That there is one of my points. Bring it over, hit the 45, bring it up, that is one of my points. I'm going to do that for the remainder of my lines. So for the remainder of my lines, bring them over to your 45 and then bring them vertical or straight up. Okay, so I get something like this. So I brought my lines over to my 45 and I brought them straight up. What I can then do is I can connect up the outside, and let's have a look at my kind of semi-finished end view. So join up my lines, make them that little bit darker, and then I can connect up my two angles. I'm going to have an angle across here and an angle across here. Now, I'm also going to have a few hidden lines, okay, that are also here. So I'm going to put those in now so I can actually see what I'm actually working with. So this is the front outside shape minus my actual, say, light section. Okay. I'm also going to have a hidden line detail because I won't be able to see it, but I'm going to have a hidden line around the top of this. So that's going to be hidden line section, because the handle does exist, I just can't see it. And same thing with here, there's an open area space, so this means there's a line coming across here. So that also is going to be a hidden line across there. So I have my top section, my bottom section. Now I just need to put in my actual light. So my two radii, or my two radiuses, my 33 and my 30. Okay? You notice I have my center line coming across. I just need to bring up my last center line from here, my plan. So to do that, I'm just going to extend it out. So project it over to my 45. So it hits my 45, and then I just bring it straight up. So bring it straight up. So, where my two center lines cross, this one from my plan, this one from my elevation, right here, that's the center of my two circles. So the first circle, okay, is going to be at 33. So put your compass down, open it up to 33. You can either remeasure it on your compass and a ruler, or you can just take it from your actual drawing, because you've already measured in 33. It's all the one. So I'm just going to measure it from my drawing, my 33, center point down. I'm going to lightly scribe in my circle. So that there is my outer circle drawn in. My inner circle, same thing, compass down, remeasure it off my drawn, my 30 millimeters. Put it down, center point. Guys, again, just quiet for 2 minutes. Again, circle, whole way around. And that there finishes off my question with all my hidden line details and everything drawn in. So that shows my center lines, my hidden line details, and then that's what will get you your full marks in this mock question. Okay?